Last week on CCTU, we heard from Patty Monahan, the lead commissioner for transportation for the California Energy Commission, on scaling infrastructure for more resilient energy.
We also got to hear truck and bus perspectives from Daimler Truck's Julian Golonsky and from Doran Barnes, the executive director of Foothill Transit.
This week on CCTU, CalStart's Global Drive to Zero program announces new global partners and their priorities and programs to advance clean commercial transportation.
Remember to visit our website at calstart.org/CCT update for all of our past episodes. And follow us on Twitter at CalStart for all of the latest updates. Well, hello again and welcome back after another tumultuous week. Great to have you back with us for this September 18th edition of CCTU, the Clean Commercial Transportation Update. Amid these confusing times, we hope to offer you a half hour of perspective and progress. I'm Bill Van Amberg, and with my colleague Alicia Gildy, we're your hosts for this week. Alex Gaddis is at the technology controls for us in the webcast. Whitley Porter is overseeing production. And Casey Okazaki is ably producing this week's webcast, also monitoring chat and questions for us. We have a really busy webcast today. We're going to get right to it. But first, Alicia, a pause for a bit of timely recognition.
That's right, and happy Friday, everyone. Well, truck drivers play a critical role in our lives, in our society. We have 3.5 million professional men and women who are delivering goods across our nation, into our regions, and into our distribution centers, stores, and our homes. And in light of National Truck Driver Appreciation Day, CalStart would like to give our deepest and sincere thanks to all the truck drivers. Thank you for all the great work that you're doing, especially hard times like now.
Really true, Alicia, and such essential workers that we've truly needed more than ever as we've gone through this pandemic and the growth of e-commerce that has come out of it. Really tough week also to be a truck driver this week. The smoke from the Western fires has gone all the way to the East Coast this week, very troubling. And another new hurricane has slammed into the Gulf Coast, is what is shaping up to be really the most powerful hurricane season on record here in the United States. But we also have real progress globally. 9 nations have now joined together via our Global Commercial Vehicle Drive to Zero program to speed low carbon, zero emission trucks and buses forward. That is the focus of CCTU today. And Alicia, we've got a great rundown to go through.
We do, Bill. Couldn't be more thrilled with this big announcement that we're going to have our very own Cristiano Façanha, our global director for our Global Drive to Zero program, will share with us about this big announcement. And we're also going to have a leadership roundtable discussion. Bill, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we're going to have Sylvain Roussel, who is the Senior Manager of Advanced Vehicle Programs for National Resources Canada. Canada was our first nation to actually sign the Drive to Zero pledge, and Natural Resources Canada has been such a great partner with us. They'll talk about what they're doing with new policies. And also Nate Baguio, who is the VP of Sales for Lion Electric, one of our foundational pledge partners right at the beginning of Drive to Zero. They'll talk about what they're doing, another Canadian-based company who is really making great progress in this space. But, you know, it's given this great progress, probably time to ask our audience and attendees today where they think the breakout sectors are going to be.
That's right. And like we always like to do, everyone, we have a poll for you. And with our topic on a global focus on how we're accelerating the adoption of zero emission commercial vehicles, both battery electric and hydrogen fuel cell, what region will manufacture by 2030 the largest amount of zero emission commercial vehicles? Will it be in North America, Europe, China, India? What do you think?
I tell you, if you had to draw the line today, China's way ahead of the rest of the world, but we're certainly seeing a lot of announcements recently, particularly out of Europe.
That's right. Alex, what are folks saying? China, 75%, followed by Europe and then North America, and then about 2% for India. But we're all making progress. Thank you, everyone, for your participation.
Yeah, not even close, according to our attendees today. Well, let's get right into our news segment, and then we'll launch into the rest of our day. First, we really want to call out the exciting news of these 9 nations who have now pledged to our Drive to Zero program. Canada, China, Chile, Finland, Germany, Japan, Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden. Very exciting. And also the Drive to Zero program has become an official recognized campaign of the Clean Energy Ministerial. These are the energy ministers of 24 nations around the world. So that's exciting news. We'll get to that in just a moment. In some of our partner news around the world, China, one of our pledge nations, has actually launched one of the first heavy-duty stations for hydrogen refueling. It's going to be used for 49-ton trucks. They can refuel 20 of them per day at this station. And these will be used to haul steel and steel materials in the region near Beijing. Also in another nation that has recently pledged, and a company who has pledged, Scania Trucks out of Sweden, has just announced their first electric truck offering that they'll be bringing into the market. It will have a range of about 250 miles, they say, which is actually pretty good range. And this truck will actually be in multiple body styles, from refuse trucks to delivery body styles. Very exciting that Scania is moving into this space. Their main company who owns Scania, which is Traton Group, VW Truck and Bus, is also making big news, and they're based in our pledge partner country, Germany. They have announced that they're going to completely change their shipping emissions. This is pretty exciting news because shipping vehicles around the world is a pretty big source of carbon emissions as well as criteria emissions. They'll be shipping all their vehicles coming to the United States on on ships powered by liquefied natural gas instead of oil. And they'll also be moving a lot of their shipping by rail to fully electric renewable energy rail. So exciting news there. Daimler has also got some news based out of Germany as well. They have had an e-Actros regional delivery truck. Now they have a long-haul version of that truck that can get up to 300 miles of range. And they announced a hydrogen version of that, still in a concept phase, that could get up to 600 miles of range. They say that they will have the e-Actros long haul available for production in 2024. Exciting news also for our pledge partner, Lion Electric out of Canada. They are delivering 10 new delivery trucks to Amazon, and this is part of Amazon's big push to actually cut the carbon in their whole supply chain as e-commerce continues to grow. In India, one of the largest manufacturers of commercial vehicles in the world, Mahindra, has partnered with another company, Re-Electric, who makes a lot of powertrains for electric drive, to start producing electric commercial vehicles. They've not announced their timeline or the specific platforms, but this could be a powerful new partnership in India. In the United States, Kenworth has started taking orders for electric trucks, the K270E and the K370E. That's a Class 6 and a Class 7 cab over truck. Those orders will be taken through the last quarter of this year, with deliveries before the end of 2020. And finally, in our news roundup today, Mack Trucks, owned by the Volvo Group out of Sweden, is going to be delivering and building LR electric refuse trucks. The orders will start towards the end of this year, 2020, and first production in 2021. So really big progress in the industrial sector, and it's matching this exciting progress that we've seen with our partners around the world as the public sector is really stepping up now on pushing for near and zero emissions technology. Alicia?
That's right. And Bill, what a fantastic rundown and how perfectly it leads into our segment today. Well, CalStart's Global Drive to Zero program continues to grow its impact around the world. And today we're excited to bring back our colleague, Cristiano Façanha, who's going to be sharing with us an important announcement. And we're going to get into a really good discussion with two of our Global Drive to Zero members. But before we do that, we would love to share with you a video that we produced. We're just going to show you a little snippet of it. We're going to want you to go to the website to check out the full video. But for now, Alex, let's give everyone a little bit of a look at that video.
Drive to Zero unites policymakers, truck and bus manufacturers, commercial fleets, and innovators to advance the global zero-emission commercial vehicle market. Medium and heavy-duty vehicles are responsible for more than 35% of greenhouse gas emissions from road transportation globally. With rapid growth in e-commerce, delivery truck emissions will only increase. Cities will be impacted the most, as more than 60% of road transport pollution comes from commercial vehicles.
Oh, that's really exciting, Cristiano. And I wonder who did the voiceover for that video. Did a really great job. Well, Cristiano, it's great to have you back, and what an exciting week. You know, now we have 8 new members as a part of our global Drive to Zero program across 4 continents, making a total of 9 nations participating in the global Drive to Zero program. Tell us a little bit more about this new important milestone.
No, thank you, Alicia and Bill. This is a big expansion and a leap for the program, and a huge momentum for speeding near and zero emission commercial vehicles worldwide. This next stage is really meaningful for many reasons, but perhaps most importantly, because it's truly now a global and multinational effort. So in addition to over 80 pledge partners, including regional and local government and agencies and industry innovators, you know, as you said, we have new national governments on 4 continents. So across Asia, Europe, North and South America, all agreeing to work together to speed zero emission trucks and buses. So when the announcement came at a global meeting of energy ministers, where we made an official announcement of Drive to Zero being a clean energy ministerial campaign under their electric vehicle initiative.
Cristiano, there's an awful lot to unpack there, and it's very exciting. I know when we launched Drive to Zero, it was almost 2 years ago exactly this week, and it was at the Global Climate Action Summit in San Francisco. We were just envisioning what it could grow into, and now it really is. Tell us a little bit more about that, and particularly, you know, becoming this official campaign is a pretty exciting step.
Yeah, it was really a momentous event for Drive to Zero. We played a video during the announcement ceremony at the Clean Energy Ministerial. And then we had a series of ministers and senior officials of the new pledge nations to join us for the event. So, and these are all like world and regional leaders. You know, they all focus on the policies and the actions they're taking to advance the zero emission commercial vehicles and why they're joining Drive to Zero. So Netherlands focused on their ambitious policies for zero emission zones in over 30 cities. And Chile talked about their great experience and a regional leader with zero emission buses. Norway really concentrated on the economic and financial incentives for zero emission vehicles. And then Sweden and Finland on their ambitious goals for carbon neutrality is really impressive. And then finally, Germany focused on funding for innovation, including electrified highways. So as you can see, you know, it's really great and exciting to deepen the engagement with all these market leaders.
Cristiano, that's really fascinating and great to hear what these nations are utilizing in terms of tools to help accelerate and drive clean commercial transportation. Tell us a little bit, with these new members coming on board, what are some of the near-term goals that we're expecting to see?
Yeah, so I mean, the vision of Drive to Zero is really that zero emission technologies, they become commercially viable and cost effective in specific beachhead segments and leading regions by 2025. So leveraging the incredible momentum on commercial vehicle availability and the recent announcement of policies such as the California ACT, one of the most important near-term goals for us at Drive to Zero is to work together with these nations to support zero emission commercial vehicles to strengthen their climate commitments ahead of COP26.
Yeah, that's going to be a really big step if we can make that happen. Let's bring in another voice, specifically from the nation who was the first to sign Drive to Zero and the pledge. We're really excited to have joining us today Sylvan Roussel, the Senior Manager for Advanced Vehicle Programs at Natural Resources Canada, which has been just such a fantastic supporter and has worked with us to become a recognized campaign. Sylvan, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for the invite.
Hey, can you tell us what are the main policies and actions that Canada is now undertaking when it comes to accelerating zero emission commercial vehicles, and what else do you think is needed to accelerate the market, at least in the Canadian context?
Well, let's just start to say that we've been kind of working at accelerating the uptake of those vehicles like for quite some time, and we've in the last few years put some action really across the value chain, because there was no single action that would have made a difference. It was like really an ensemble of all of them. So let me just go through quickly what we've been doing. So first we've been investing in charging and refueling infrastructure. For the past few years we've been focusing on light duty, but now we're deploying infrastructure for commercial fleet applications. While we're also offering incentives for Canadians to buy ZEV, we are providing tax write-off for zero-emission vehicles for businesses to include that includes medium and heavy duty. On the transit side, I mean, we've for the next 12 years, we'll be investing billions of dollars to really support some good public transit project and really use that momentum to transition that sector to low carbon, helping municipalities and school board, for example, to purchase those zero emission transit buses and school. But I think we just didn't start there. We've been working with the freight sector to help them to reduce their fuel, help them to fuel switch and really improve their competitiveness. All of this needs to be supported by some enabling action. When we talk about deploying those kind of technology, we need to make sure that the codes and standards are in place. We need to make sure that we continue our research and development, actually, to make sure that we get to those technology and to reduce the cost of them. All of that, also needs to be supported with complementary federal measures. We're putting a price on carbon emission, and that's an important step. We're setting greenhouse gas emission standard on heavy duty. So we're also going to introduce the clean fuel standard, which is really a first of kind regulation to reduce the carbon intensity. So as you can see, there's a lot of action across different spheres and really across the value chain. One thing that that we're going to start really focus on, and an important piece of all of this, is that we see the increase in use of hydrogen as a key to drive down the emissions from that sector. Mm-hmm. So we're about to finalize a hydrogen strategy for Canada, which will identify the opportunities of to produce it, but also to use it in end use, and especially in the commercial freight. We know that there's a place for hydrogen in that sector, and we're hoping that strategy will help us really find some opportunities to move towards that zero emission target.
Great.
Well, that's great, Sylvain, just hearing about all of what you're doing to move forward and advance clean commercial transportation, and hearing about the opportunities around hydrogen. That's so exciting. Thank you so much. I do want to bring in one of your manufacturers of Canada, who's also one of our first pledge members to our Global Drive to Zero program, Nate Baguio, who is the Vice President of Sales for the Lion Electric Company. Nate, wonderful to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think I mispronounced your last name. Forgive me, my friend. I knew it was going to happen. But anyway, we would love to get your thoughts. And with today's announcement, with Bill sharing that you guys now have an electric truck platform, that's so great. What do you think needs to happen to really accelerate the market for advancing manufacturing and the production and getting more of these zero emission vehicles on the road?
Well, we have a saying at Lion, and it's used to really push my group to get these vehicles out on the road that we have. And we have multiple truck platforms as well. Is that, every 1 year in EV is 5 years in any other industry. Mm-hmm. So you really have to, reimagine transportation as something that moves faster, that needs to move faster. And, what's really exciting about the Drive to Zero initiative is, I really feel Lion is the embodiment of that. And really looking at what can you hand a fleet operator the keys to today? And when you look at our history, we started with school buses, which made a lot of sense. We are an EV manufacturer, but we're well known for that. We can hand the keys to somebody today and it will handle school bus routes across North America as they do every day. Also, trucks, the delivery of groceries and meals and all of those things are even more prevalent now with COVID-19 than they were before. The acceleration to delivery to people's homes is huge. And yeah, we're excited to announce, and thank you for mentioning that, Bill, that we will be delivering trucks to Amazon here in weeks, and I think that's a real distinguishing thing and just supporting this beachhead movement, that we're not talking about something that's going to happen in 2 years. These will be delivering product for Amazon in a matter of weeks, so it's very exciting to see these things going. And from a vehicle side, it's accelerating. We need a lot of the other components such as infrastructure and utilities and power sources to catch up with the speed of manufacturing. And those are some of the things we're focused on.
Great, Nate, and thank you so much for that. And I think that the beachhead strategy, which we helped develop with the California Air Resources Board, really has been a formative tool to help people start to get their arms around what's real, where can we make it work right away. Sylvan, if we can jump back to you for a second, as the first nation to join Drive to Zero last year, now with 8 more nations, how do you see Canada and these nations who are taking part in Drive to Zero benefiting from this international coordination? How does this help you support zero emission commercial vehicles?
So thanks. So I think, I strongly believe that, the sum of all of our efforts, help to achieve something. When we launched the campaign and at the onset, for those people that were at the event, there was a bit of a retrospective about the last 10 years of EVI, which is the Electric Vehicle Initiative. And it was really encouraging to see what the community has done to be where we are today with the light duty fleet. And the great thing that is with all the members, we're able to learn from each other and therefore maximizing the results achieved from existing program and apply key finding. I mean, this is important to help us develop future policies and programs. So I don't think this will be very different. The campaign, I think, will really contribute to the climate objectives of all the countries. But we will do. It will really help us to kind of achieve what we're trying to do with the experience. So we're super encouraged to see the members joining the campaign. And if I can support my Deputy Minister Sean Tupper, who said on Wednesday that he's challenging all the other jurisdictions to join this campaign so we can work collectively to address this challenge. So I think having all the members and the sub-government and industry be part of that campaign will really move that yardstick for sure.
That's great, Sylvain. And I want to build on that really great comment and ask Nate. Nate, with Global Drive to Zero as this incredible opportunity to help align nations to look at how we can advance the commercialization of zero emission vehicles, trucks and buses. Where do you see those opportunities? And what role would you like to see the Lion Electric company play a role in this in terms of supporting that alignment and that coordination through this global program?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I'm in California, by the way. And one of the great things about working with Lion is you look at this more dynamically, and you want to be able to speak in a framework that shows the possibilities of Drive to Zero, because it's not just the vehicle. With Lion being headquartered in Quebec, Hydro-Quebec, the vehicles are not only clean with Lion, but the power sources that power them are also clean. And when you have that example that's already in play and already robust, you can transfer those initiatives to places like Texas. It's not always about California or Washington. Texas has more clean wind power than most countries, and through the Midwest. So, being able to make the connection between clean sources of energy and the possibilities of clean transportation only multiplies the positive impacts on climate change.
That is such a good point, Nate. And I think one of the other things that's been really exciting is to be able to point out that these vehicles, particularly in their first years, are going to be in urban centers where there is huge social equity issues. And it gives us a chance to really address that at the same time we solve climate change. For all three, just a kind of a final question. What are your next steps to drive action towards the goals, your own goals and the Drive to Zero goals? What collaboration opportunities do you see for all of us to work together? Cristiano, let's start with you, and then let's hear from Sylvain and Nate on that.
Oh, thank you, Bill. And I mean, my take is that the real work starts now. It's really to deepen the engagement with each of these nations and with our industry partners and help all of them meet their ambitious targets. They're all like national, regional, and industry leaders. So, and this will really be done by aligning vehicle deployment with all the supportive policies as incentives around beachhead segments so that we can build scale in the market a lot faster. So, and then to better support the countries and our partners, we're going to continue working on the great tools that we've got started. So we're going to be continuously updating our ZETI tool, which includes all the current and announced models for zero-emission commercial vehicles across the Americas, Europe, China, and India. So far, we also have our policy and actions toolkit, which is a compendium of policies and incentives to accelerate the market. So we're continually updating that. We have a total cost of ownership calculator to help fleets really understand the cost implications of the zero-emission technologies. And then finally, we're going to be releasing guidance on zero-emission infrastructure planning and scaling up. So please, check our website and stay tuned.
Great. Sylvain, you really got me excited with talking about the Clean Fuel Standard. What are your next actions to drive forward on these goals?
I think it's really to work with our members right now to move some of those actions. But I think we're at a time, and Canada and governments around the world are kind of looking at the action that will need to be taken actually following that pandemic, and really looking at the economic downturn and how are we going to be able to build back better, and how are we going to invest that money to make sure that we're achieving our climate goals. So this is going to be an important time for us to think about what our next actions are. But as I mentioned, we have that upcoming hydrogen strategy for Canada. So really looking at what's going to be the opportunities out of this, and making sure that we can implement some of those actions in the near future.
Great. Good observation on how do we invest right coming out of the pandemic, both for our economics and our future economics. Nate, last thought to you.
Yeah, I think one of the things, and if you look at all of the people who have signed the Drive to Zero pledge, you have a great spread of companies that are taking this type of, and agencies that are taking this type of leadership. But, we have a customer, we're delivering 9 more vehicles to here in a week or two. They're going to be operating over 60 vehicles out of 1 yard. That's not a pilot, that's a fleet. And as leaders in this industry, we need to push forward. And one of the things Lion is doing to really do that is we're not waiting for things to develop. We've started Lion Energy, which is now going to start tackling infrastructure issues for customers. So we don't sell them a vehicle and leave them to wonder how they're going to do the rest of it. Lion Beat telematics, people need that for EVs specifically. We know that's been around for a while, but you need to monitor all of these new components and their health and the performance of vehicle, not only for reporting for incentives, but just vehicle health in your operation. And also the Lion Academy, training people what it means to drive a zero emission vehicle. We can't wait for the other, legacy certifications. You've got to move forward. And Lion is doing that, and a lot of other people that have signed your pledge. We need to push forward and take leadership of this industry and create these standards where there's a vacuum.
Hey, thank you so much. This has been an incredible panel discussion with incredible leaders, and we are so thankful to have each of you join us today. Cristiano, thank you for all of your leadership with the Global Drive to Zero program. You are doing a fantastic job, and it's so wonderful to see all these new nations come to the partnership and really helping us to build and grow our impact around the world. And then to have Sylvan and Nate talk about the great things that they're doing and putting in place to help advance commercial transportation for zero emission vehicles. Thank you everyone for your great input and participation. We look forward to bringing you back to our program.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks to
you.
all of you. And I do think, once again, I reflect back on 2 years ago when John Bozell and I kicked off the Global Commercial Vehicle Drive to Zero. What we're doing today was the glimmer in our eye. It's so exciting to see this. Now the next 2 years, we really need to scale it. And I think with these great partners, we will. Thank you all. Sadly, once again, our time has flown by. This concludes this week's edition of CCTU. Hope you got something from it. We certainly did. Remember, we post each week's edition on our website, calstart.org/CCT update. Check it out and please share it with others through social media and other forums. Next week on CCTU, we're going to take a look at fully integrated near and zero emission ecosystems and what it takes to successfully deploy clean vehicles. Nate just talked about some of that right here. Until then, for Alicia Gildy and our clean commercial transportation team here at CalStart, thank you so much for joining us. Be safe, take care of yourself and others, particularly in this time, and stay connected. Make Friday your CCTU day. We'll be right here waiting for you next week at this same time. Until then, goodbye.